Having received the permission from Vice Foreign Minister Lê Mai of the Vietnamese government in December 1991, as I was there negotiating to determine the fate of these 3 possible live American prisoners. The next day, I spent 2 hours plus at the table with another Vietnamese official named Lê Bang. Lê Bang would later be the first Vietnamese ambassador to the United States. He was another very competent diplomat. And he and I spent, as I said, 2 hours at the negotiating table, all in Vietnamese. So I'm speaking Vietnamese. I have Vietnamese-speaking Americans who are with me. And we spend this time discussing where it is that we want to go and look, which prison we want to have access to. So I had turned that night to our Defense Department and our military analysts, the experts who kept track of evidence about possible live Americans, evidence about Americans, and I said, you have to pick where we want to go, what area we want to search, looking for the individuals who had been identified in this photo. And they picked a place in the middle of Vietnam. There were rather some infamous prisons, even right in Hanoi, that we knew about, never been into, but they picked a prison sort of in central Vietnam in a remote area where we had intelligence that related directly to the fate of that U.S. pilot whose daughter had pointed at that picture and said, "That's my father." And I thought, yes, that's where we have to go. I had their recommendation. And so the next day with Lê Bang, we're negotiating. All of this comes to agreement. And when I'm going to leave, this will be conducted by the U.S. Defense Department personnel, who would then, several days, a week later, make the trip there, go and investigate. That happened. We had the access. We, the U.S. government, for the first time ever, had identified the prison we wanted to go to. We had access to a prison. Never had that before. I was so pleased with this outcome, and it was such a positive development that it made our other exchanges with Vietnam now easier, and we could be forthcoming in responding as a result of this. So this was a breakthrough moment in terms of U.S.-Hanoi relations as we were endeavoring to move forward. But it also had an impact on the Cambodian negotiations as well, because as in our policy that we had developed, Cambodia, Vietnam, POW/MIA, creating a new government, ensuring the Khmer Rouge never come back to Cambodia, those two policies had to be integrated together and producing results in both areas. This was a huge breakthrough, and with just a couple of weeks later, the collapse of the Soviet Union, suddenly, going into 1992, there's a huge impetus, an ability to move forward.